It began with the sandstorm. When it cleared, part of our excavation site had collapsed, revealing a hollow chamber beneath. Limestone steps, carved with precision no desert nomad could have achieved. 6 of us went down. Myself, 2 students, our linguist, our photographer, and our guide. The air was heavy, dry, unmoving. It didn't feel ancient, it felt sealed. The first carvings appeared a few meters down, crude repetitive warnings in a forgotten script. Our linguist translated what he could. Turn back. Do not open. Do not wake what feeds. We assumed it was superstition. Every old site has its curses. But the further we went, the more the walls began to change, warnings turning into murals. We weren't the first to walk these halls. Someone long ago had tried to leave us a message. The murals told a story, carved in order as we descended. At first, the people were prosperous. Then the drawings changed. They were shown bringing offerings into a deep stone chamber. Food, gold, animals. Then came fear. The people thinner, desperate. Offerings of food turned to offerings of flesh. The monster's depiction was almost gone, scraped away violently, gouged down to blank stone. But you could still see parts of it. The outline of horns and something vast standing upright. It was clear now. This thing had plagued them for generations. The offerings had stopped working. It wanted more, so their king gathered his strongest men and went into the labyrinth himself. The murals showed them fighting, dying, running, until the survivors found what they'd been searching for. A sphere held by stone hands, covered in ancient writing. The script described it as the heart that binds the hunger, a way not to kill the creature, but to keep it chained, trapped within the labyrinth. In the final mural, the king sat upon a throne, holding the glowing orb as his soldiers sealed the entrance from outside. He stayed behind, alone, and they buried him with it. We should have left the moment we understood, but curiosity is a curse that sounds like reason. We wanted the orb. We wanted to see what was real. The labyrinth stretched endlessly, halls upon halls of dust and silence. We split into pairs, marking the walls as we went, staying in contact through the radios. At first, everything was fine. Echoes, distant sounds, our own footsteps, we thought. Then the first scream. One of the students, Thomas. He was shouting through the radio, panicked, saying he'd seen something moving in the dark. Something fast, something big. We heard the others shouting his name, then static. Then another scream, distant, followed by heavy pounding steps echoing through the maze. What is that? That was the last thing anyone said over the radio before it cut to silence. I ran. Alone now. My torch flickered, picking out carvings of bodies, bones, streaks of ancient dry blood on the walls. And behind me, that sound again. Hooves on stone. I don't know how I reached the center. I only remember following a faint glow through a passage lined with skulls. The chamber opened into a vast hall. At its center sat a stone throne, and upon it, the skeletal remains of a man crowned in gold, his bony hands locked around a faintly glowing orb. The murals had been true. The king had been real. He hadn't been buried here. He'd stayed willingly to keep the creature imprisoned. The orb pulsed with a heartbeat, like it was alive. Then came the sound. The hooves again, echoing closer. I turned toward the corridor, and something massive stepped into the light. I saw its horns, its breath steaming from its nostrils, the weight of it shaking the floor. It saw me. I froze, and without thinking, I grabbed the orb from the king's hands. The light exploded. The creature halted mid-step, eyes locked on me, breathing hard but unable to move. The orb hummed in my grip, searing hot. I understood then. I had taken the king's place. The keeper was gone, and his prison was breaking. I remember leaving, just running through the halls, clutching the orb as its glow dimmed. I found 2 survivors, silent, pale, eyes wide with disbelief. We climbed until we saw sunlight. The desert greeted us like a mirage. The ground shook beneath our feet. We reached the surface just as the maze began to collapse. The helicopter arrived at dusk. I looked down as we rose, sand spiraling where the labyrinth had been. The desert swallowing it whole again. It should have ended there. But the orb's light was fading. The hum slowed, then stopped. Through the engine noise, I heard it again, a low distant roar. The king's sacrifice had lasted thousands of years, and we broke it in a day.
Our voyage has reached its end, yet the sea still whispers of shadows unseen. Remember, sailor, every ending is but the beginning of another tale. We shall meet again.